Audience, and coming up, Guy and I both appreciate a handwritten note and thoughtful words.
We certainly do.
Yeah, now how about how those words are penned? Did you know they say a lot about the writer?
They do.
Intrigued? We're going to find out how to read between the lines, so to speak, with a handwriting expert when we come back. Jody, how you doing? Now, something else, though, about making a first impression, or any impression, your handwriting.
Yeah.
It can make a very strong impression as well. Handwriting analysis expert Carla Winter is here to shed some light on what our handwriting and signature may be saying about us. And Carla, it can be either good or bad, I imagine?
Exactly. Well, I mean, everything has two sides to it anyway.
Yeah.
So you'll see some tendencies or proclivities towards a trait one way or another. Doesn't necessarily mean the person will act out, but they'll have an inclination to.
Okay.
Now, first off, tell us what handwriting analysis is.
It's kind of a cross between a quasi-science and an art form, of which we're really looking at a person's handwriting and sometimes drawings to get information about their personality style, their tendencies, their some of their proclivities and their aptitudes.
So if it's big and bold, does that mean that they could possibly be considered type A, outgoing?
They would definitely be, yeah, big and bold would be outgoing, personable. I would usually put them in marketing. I generally see a lot of marketing people
Sales,
with big,
perhaps.
exactly, big projected image.
Yeah.
Tiny little ones. Traditionally, I've seen some very small, fast writings will come from engineers and scientists because their mind is working so fast. In order to get the thought out, they reduce the size and frequently become more illegible.
What if they slant?
Depends upon the degree of the slant.
Really?
Yeah, so in our particular culture, and what culture you're in our particular culture, right-hand slant's considered positive, good drive and energy. If it's tilted too far over, you can have someone that's fairly fanatic, explosive, tyrannical. If you've got someone who's pulled back, we'll call that left-tending. Depends upon whether they're left-handed and right-handed too. That can be a person who's a little bit more cautious.
Let's look at some samples,
Carla.
Carla.
Speaking of fanatical, let's look at the first one. Whose is this?
We don't say?
Melissa's.
All right. Okay, so what does it say about me?
Yeah, what does that say about Melissa?
Well, Melissa did a very interesting thing. First she printed it, and then she rewrote it in cursive. And that, when you do that kind of methodology, it's a little bit of the compulsive need to
Overachiever?
to achieve, to be perfect, to be a very clear communicator in your intention. A lot of times when people will print overwrite, they'll do it for clarity because they think they can do it better. Your handwriting is very congruent. It's like what you see is what you get, and I see in your personality, because your signature pretty well matches your cursive as well as your printing. The slant is very consistent. You're a person that, you know, your past, your roots, your family, your people are really important to you.
Wow.
You also get validation from the outside world is really important to you. You're an analytical thinker as well. Along with that clarity, you know, is that abstract thinker. And when I heard you were a talk show hostess, I said, oh, she's going to be very amiable. And I saw all that, you know, analytical thought in there. That was really
Can you tell us
interesting.
she's a sociopath?
Thank you.
She's not a sociopath, but she is very cautious, not an excessive risk taker.
All right. Who's next?
I think we'll do you.
Oh, there it is.
Now,
Okay.
you're very different.
You know what? I'm not a cursive writer. I never have been.
But
I mean, I
you
was
are.
when I was a kid, and then I just kind of...
So you think, oh, I should
I'm a
show
printer.
people what this is.
Oh, it's right
they've
up
got
there
it
on the
up there.
screen, yeah.
Okay, so you think that you're a printer, but you're actually not. You're giving me a combination because you see you've got those connective words going on to the letters there.
they're
So
connected.
although
Okay.
you project with a strong block printing style, you're very connected and congruent in the thought process. But what we see here in the composition, first of all, look how controlled the page is. It's dead center, totally,
Interesting.
you know. What you would do is you would be the kind of person that would definitely size up a situation and really look before you leap. Also with the projected boldness of that printing, it's like you're going to be very specific with allowing people to see what you want them to see.
Ah.
Another thing that shows up is where Melissa has a wonderful right-hand slant. You're very vertical. The vertical slant, or straight up and down, is very difficult to maintain. It's the most difficult one. Those type of people can be very good mediators, arbitrators. They have ability to want to listen to both sides of the story. Not necessarily so.
Hey, quiet, Jody Moreno.
Not necessarily so.
How's the signature?
So
my signature's kind of crazy.
Well, the signature worked very well with what you've got going on there. Oh, again, the G and the F, strong projected image, and then you threaded everything out. Threading everything out, it's like suddenly you have a little bit of illegibility going on that, but that's your speed. That's your speed, and
that's how my mind works.
Right,
Carla.
That's how your mind works.
Does that say something about privacy too, to kind of not detail everything?
That goes back to, I'm going to show you what I want you to see, and I'm going to be very private about who I'm going to let into my inner world.
Now, I hear that we have some audience members who gave you some writing samples. Patricia?
Yes, now Patricia.
Okay. Oh, is it Anne first? Okay.
Okay, Anne.
Okay.
Let's take a look at Anne's.
Diane.
Diane.
Diane, go for it, Diane.
Diane.
Okay, there she is.
Diane, raise your hand.
Oh, she wrote a
There she's
nice
standing
long
right
there.
letter,
Yeah.
too. She's right. So now she's definitely follows directions.
So yeah, what I see here, she's very comfortable. She's got very comfortable social parameters. You know, she likes her own company, and she's as well as liking people.
Looks like she likes to talk a lot.
She does like to talk a lot, and you know, with some tendencies I see here, there's a person that's got an oral tendency, and be it whether she's a foodie or a talker, there's definitely a person that is oral here. She lives very much in present time. She's also a little bit of a dawdler. There's some bits of stylization for her, you know, but she's got some interesting affectations and curls and swirls that, you know, she just kind of has fun with. There's times it's like she'll be very abrupt, and then there's other times she'll be dawdling.
Diane, are you a
What do
dawdler?
you think about that? Dawdler?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Are you a foodie?
I am.
Oh, she's calling it right. Are you
She's-
creative?
I can be at certain times, and I want to write. I'm more. I can write better than I can visually speak to people. So,
Okay.
Wow.
So she's doing pretty good then.
You have a
She's right on
very
key.
unusual D, and she's got some really unusual connecting styles. This is a person who is really her own creative kind of person.
Wow.
Does not go
Diane.
by the tradition. She's not a conformist or
Good
conventional.
for Diane.
Okay.
Okay, who's next?
Is Patricia.
Okay, now
Yes.
Patricia.
Okay.
Now we got Patricia.
Patricia has just some really lofty elegance, some real creative imagination and inspiration and aspiration. She's very, there's a kind of a sensitive elegance in her writing, but there's also a sense of over control. It's like we're trying on one end, and all of a sudden it gets, you know, the stuff that's really your stuff shows up, and then you kind of mask it and clarify it again. Again, there's this real elegance about you, comfortable in your own skin. What you didn't do is give me the whole page, so we just started at the top, and also we have a trend that started up and then sort of convex down. I'd probably need a little bit more of a writing sample to kind of get a little bit more of.
That's
Okay.
because
of the-
Patricia is not a
Patricia?
space waster.
Not a space waster at
What
all.
do you think, Patricia? Are you good with your space?
I think so.
Well, I think she did good. She called you elegant.
Yeah.
Now, this is also Michelle Gaskell's mom, and she's here with us today, too. Now, she called you a little bit of over-controlling. Is that right?
Well, I taught handwriting to kids in school. I taught at a school for years and years. And so I just learned this quote. And when I get in my artist brain, because I'm an artist, I can't think how to spell. So that's why you see a little bit corrections going on. When I get in my right brain, my left brain is the one that knows how to spell. But when I get in my artist brain, which is you use your right side of the brain, I have a tough time.
Oh, so
There you
that
go.
explains
Okay,
it.
Patricia.
Very
Yeah, fun.
precise, and attention to T crossing, and the eyes are exactly where they're supposed to be.
Thank
you.
Carla. And Carla, you have to come back. We enjoyed that so much. That was
Yeah,
wonderful.
that was exciting. That was
Wow.
interesting.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, stick around because we've got a lot more on
I
today's
know.
show.
Okay. We do, and you might want to read
Especially-
between the lines.
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Thank
you know,
you.
the Sacramento